Hi, my name is Dustin Hurst. I'm the Communication Director here at the Idaho Freedom Foundation. We're at the Freedom Foundation headquarters here in Boise. We've just left the Capitol for the day, and we need to talk to you about this tax cut bill that was proposed in the House Rev and Tax Committee this morning. We need to have a really heart-to-heart talk, and for that, I brought my man, Fred. He's our vice president here at the Freedom Foundation, and he's a real numbers guy. I can barely count to 10, but Fred knows his stuff. So, Fred, normally, in normal years, the Freedom Foundation says tax cut. Hey, this is great. We want to get behind this. We want to give money back to Idaho families and businesses. But this year is a little bit different, and the bill that was introduced this morning is just a tiny bit different. Can you tell me what an issue might be with this bill?
Well, thanks, Dustin. And for Idaho families, this is Fred Birnbaum from the Idaho Freedom Foundation. I think overall, what I would say is the state has a ton of money, and they're only giving a little back to you. They're spending most of it. So that's the problem. This is insufficient tax relief. The state legislature could do much better. It would be very easy for them to do. Instead, they want to give you a little tax relief, but keep the big spending gravy train going.
Okay, so now when you say it's just a little bit, can you give us, without getting too much into the weeds, because we can do that online and elsewhere, tell me, okay, so how much is the tax cut, and put that in proportion or in context of how much lawmakers may spend this year?
Great question, Dustin. The tax cut, and there are actually two of them. One would lower the income tax top rate from 7.4 to 7.2 and exempt a bottom piece, and the other would exempt some personal property or would raise that exemption. They total just under $60 million. Sounds like a lot, but the state proposes to spend $3.5 billion. So it's very tiny relief. It's really just a little over 1% of what they want to spend.
So every time there's a tax cut in the Capitol, and let me paraphrase because I can't get into all the details, but every time there's a tax cut in the Capitol, what I hear is we're going to have to slash government to the bone, we can't pay our teachers enough, and our roads are crumbling and stuff. My guess is that's not the case this year. Can legislators afford to invest in key areas of government and still provide tax relief?
Absolutely. In fact, what the governor and the agencies have proposed not only covers key stuff, it actually throws more money than they even need into areas that the state traditionally hasn't even spent money in. So they're spending money everywhere, and all they're offering is a small tax cut. And the reason they're offering the tax cut at all is that when they spend even 9% more than last year, there's about a 60-some million ending balance. So in effect, what they're proposing with this tax cut is to keep all the big spending for themselves and give Idaho families just a little bit so they feel like they got a lot.
So I read the bill, and I've kind of read some of the news stories about it. It cuts rates for the bottom, and then the top two brackets. So is this just a tax cut for the rich? And why does this matter to Idaho families, how much they cut and where they cut, and what can be improved in this bill?
Well, it's a good start. It's just insufficient. So no, it's not just a tax cut for the rich, but it's insufficient. Idaho families could also use, for example, relief on the sales tax on groceries, and there's no reason they couldn't do both. Cut the income tax and at the same time put money in the pockets of Idaho families by cutting the sales tax on groceries. We could easily do both. All we'd have to do is trim the 9% spending down to 7 or 8%. So you could still have a huge increase in government, just not an elephantine increase, and you could still provide the sales tax relief for groceries and income tax relief. Perfect opportunity to do that, and the legislature needs to be bold and take that opportunity this session.
So what you're saying is that, if I understand it correctly, because I've worked with you on numbers, and like I said, I'm not the numbers guy that you are, but what you're saying is if they restrain spending, they can do serious tax relief while still paying teachers well, while still investing in roads, and taking care and maintaining key government functions. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I say that with complete confidence. There's plenty of money to fund significant raises for teachers, more money peripherally for education, money for roads, and tax relief. They just can't spend money in every agency that they want to spend and give raises and hold benefits and add new programs and add head count and do all the building and construction. It's just simply and. So that's all we're saying is restrain spending, and you can have full funding of agencies as well as sales tax on groceries and income tax relief for Idaho families.
Now, and that's been kind of the theme here at IFF is relief for Idaho families. And we've really done some digging. You've done great work on digging into the budget numbers and what it really says. And the media says, oh, it's 5.4, 6.4, whatever it is. But we realized that the budget is actually 9% growth. Why does that matter to the average family? And what can we do about it?
It matters because I don't think the average family realizes that the governor proposes to grow government twice as fast as the average person's wage or personal income is growing. So government spending is growing twice as fast as the average family income is in Idaho. So what we're saying is slow the growth of government to match the growth rate that most families experience and give them that money back. It is their money after all.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. I will say, if you do feel passionate about this, if you want to see aggressive income tax cuts, or if you want to see the end of the grocery tax, the tax on your groceries, your grocery cart, your bread and stuff like that, go to your Apple or Android app store and download Testify, our new mobile device app, and you can actually message your lawmakers, members of the Budget Committee or the House Rev and Tax Committee, and let them know how you feel about this. That's the only way anything ever gets done. Anything else that people need to think about when they're contacting their lawmakers?
Yes. Please tell your lawmakers that this is the year that you, as a taxpayer, deserve tax relief. Not next year, this year.
All right. Thanks, Fred. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Facebook or email me, Dustin@idahofreedom.org, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Okay. Probably, you're going to snippet that, right? Mm-hmm.